hello to the replayers. And I'm trying something new. Facebook has been weird like the last 6 months. So I really haven't been going live on there, but I'm trying again. I'm giving it a shot. So if you see this on Facebook, we are showing up. So that's great. Good to know. I'm going to share that with the group. But yeah, welcome everyone. We're talking about getting booked, being the booked photographer in your area. So if you have questions about that, if you're like, how do I become booked? Drop them in the chat in the comments, and Delaney and I will talk about it. Um, okay, there's a lot of like back end stuff going everywhere. All right, here talking about being the booked photographer. Nope. I always misspell photographer so
That's
many
so funny.
times. It's so funny. I misspell photographer and I misspell my last name Mansfield
Yeah.
nearly every single time that I write it. It's
Entrepreneur
insane.
gets me.
Oh,
That one's a hard one.
yeah. I've had to start saying it like I say like Wednesday. I say Wednesday
Yes.
to figure it out, and still the little red squiggly lines will pop up and I'm like, I thought I did this correct.
I know. Yes.
uh,
Thank goodness for spell check.
yes. And we are good now. Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, all the technical things are out of the way. So,
Okay.
so I'm excited to chat. I also, Delaney, I love the dark roast in your business name.
Thank you.
Where did that come from?
um, I usually just say it was divine inspiration. Like it just popped into my head. And I'm like, oh, that's funny and punny.
Yeah.
And I love dark roast. Also, my initials are DR, so it just kind of like worked on a lot of different levels.
Just the
And it's just,
branding cohesiveness.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. So mostly just inspiration, not a lot of strategy, but I think it gets the vibe across pretty well. I like coffee. I do
Yeah.
copywriting. I like puns.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. And I feel like that also, like whenever I saw you on Threads, I think is where we connected.
Hmm.
Whenever I saw that, I was just like, ooh, dark roast. I like
Hmm.
coffee. This
Hmm.
is fun. Let's chat.
I know. It's like the most basic thing in the world. Like everybody loves coffee. And yet it's still a good connection tool. Everyone's like, I can relate to this. I'm like, yeah.
uh, I don't know. I made coffee pretty big into my branding and just like who I am.
Hmm.
And there have been so many people as of like the last 2 years that are just like, I don't drink coffee. I don't do
Yeah.
this.
I
So it
know.
is still a little bit divisive of like, oh no, I'm a tea person, or I'm just like a no caffeine at all. Uh,
Yeah, I don't think I'm ever going to be a no caffeine person, but listen, I love tea as well. I love like a kombucha,
mm-hmm.
all the beverages. They're great. It's just like I feel like the culture or the vibe that I'm trying to get across, the like coffee shop kind of vibe that's most
Yeah.
important here.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Whether you're getting a matcha or like a chai or a dark dark roast black coffee,
Yeah.
like that's the vibe. And I love that, like that definitely comes through in your Instagram and all of that. Just like
Mm,
your branding, colors and everything. I was like, yeah, I feel like I'm in like it's like overcast outside and I'm sitting in a coffee shop and it's cozy and there's like a communal blanket that's there
hmm.
that's just like, here, you can throw this over your feet while you have your coffee. And
Exactly. Yes, I've had people describe that exact thing to me like several times before, and I'm like,
nice.
I just feel like it's a cozy coffee shop and
Yeah.
a rainy day, and we're all just cozy, and I love that. That's
Yeah.
the best thing ever, in my opinion.
We love cozy.
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay, could you give us a little background on you and what you do and what you love and where you're based?
Yes. So my name is Delany. I am the copywriter behind Dark Roast Copy Co. I am primarily a website copywriter. So that's like the main character offer of what I do is writing people's websites. And I am based in Atlanta, Georgia. And I basically help creative entrepreneurs, service providers, small businesses write their websites in a way that sounds really good, sounds like them, and it also helps them book out their services and make more sales.
That is awesome. How do you help? I know this isn't like our topic, but um how do you really like make it sound like the person when like do you ever have people that hire you and they're just like, I want you to help me like be me, but I don't know who I am?
Mm, yeah, I have a great like kind of parallel to this with like photography actually of the way
Okay.
I describe it to people. So like when you're hiring a copywriter, yes, you want the copywriter to write in your voice and sound like you, but kind of in a way that you hire a photographer. Like you expect your photos to look like you, but you're also paying for like their interpretation and their artistry of what you do as well. Because if you
Yeah.
wanted pictures that looked like you could use your iPhone camera. That's fine. It
Yep.
works. They're pretty dang good. But when you're hiring a photographer, you are paying for, the experience and this like artistry behind it. And it's kind of the same thing with a copywriter, where, like, honestly, you could hire a bunch of different copywriters and they would interpret your voice and who you are and how you sound in slightly different ways, but it would all be, like kind of an elevated version of you and kind of an interpretation of how you sound and how you come across. So it's kind of that's the parallel I draw there.
Yeah, no, I like that visual because like it does you could think of just like, well, I don't know, like who am I going to hire because I have like these four aspects of my brand and that's
Hmm.
really all that I know. And then like you're coming in, you're the professional, you're the one who's just like, I can take that, let me elevate it and then show you this photo of you. And it's like, oh, this, yeah, this is what I was looking for. So
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
no, I love that. That's really cool. So okay, so for photographers who are wanting to get booked, the ones who clicked on this episode and they're just
Hmm.
like, okay, Delaney, tell me, how do I become the booked out photographer in my area? Because like I'm gonna be honest, 2025, it is weird out here. I know, especially in the
Yeah.
wedding industry, so many people that I'm talking to are just like have like big gaps later this year, or they're getting, I mean, I even just booked someone who their wedding was in 3 months, and that was like
Oh.
unheard of. Like usually we're booking 9 plus months out, and
Mm.
some couples now are just like a lot shorter time frame. A lot of family photographers are getting the people that are just, hey, are you available next weekend for a photo
Whoa.
shoot instead of like planning out. So I know 2025 is feeling weird for a lot of people. What are some ways that we can uh, get more booked out?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to take this as like a twofold approach based on what I've seen when I've worked with photographers. So the first one would be like kind of the intimidating, unsexy SEO side of things. So, like making sure your website and probably your social media presence as well is optimized for your area so people can actually find you. I know it sounds basic. I know a lot of people are like, oh, yeah, I need to show up on Google. But you would be surprised how many people are not optimizing their online presence for their area. So that's like a huge thing that you definitely should do. So there's that, which I know SEO is a whole conversation that we can dig into a
I
little
was
bit
gonna
here.
say, yeah, we
But
can dig in a little bit, but that's like like a
yeah,
3 part episode
right.
that
I
we
know.
would dig into.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's like one side of things. The other would be like having really strong, like a really strong voice. And I know like the word like brand messaging is kind of intimidating. So I'm going to reframe it and say like portraying a strong experience on your website or your social media so that like even if they are, thinking between a couple different photographers and they're looking at, different options in your area, you have a really strong offering of what it's like to work with you. And that vibe is really coming across in a clear way, that you're just going to create a really compelling case for working with you specifically over other people. And sometimes that is really all it comes down to, is like you're being like more specific than everyone else in your area of like what it's like to work with you, which is kind of overlooked sometimes with photographers. I find that when I work with businesses that are really visual heavy, so like interior designers, photographers, videographers and stuff, they're really good at the pictures and the images and such, which is great. Like picture is
Hmm.
worth a thousand words. But sometimes when they're trying to describe, what their value is, what their unique experience is, that can kind of feel like a lot for them. So maybe just exploring a little bit of like what it looks like to work with you and how we can get those words on the page.
Yeah. No, I completely agree because yes, it is very easy for photographers to just like throw some pretty photos up there and just like, no, but you see, this is what it's like working with me.
Hmm.
But like, sure, a photo is, worth a thousand words, but it's also interpreted different ways from different people. So those words are going to be different for every single person that looks at it. And having something where you're able to express what it is like working with you and having like an experience page on your website. There are so many
Mm.
photographers that I see that's just like you've got a homepage, an about page, and a contact page. And the about is all about, the TV shows and stuff that you like, which is cool. I also like to include that stuff in there too, but like there's nothing about the experience.
Mm.
And yeah, I think you're totally right with, if you can really express what it's like working with you, what can they um what can they expect whenever they, inquire with you? Like what is it actually going to look like? Is it going to be just I'm hiring someone, they're going to show up with a camera and take photos,
Hmm.
or is there a whole detailed process of like an elevated client experience that they don't know about because you're not sharing about it?
Exactly. Yeah. And all of that, like sharing that, like your process or even like how you work the day of and stuff like that, all of that helps cut down on the like mystery factor that they're already wondering about. But it's really hard for people to commit to things when they don't know what they're committing to and they still have a lot of unanswered questions. So, like, even just, I don't know, let's speak in like a hypothetical of like you're a photographer who's really involved, really like you're diving into like mood boards or whatever, and you're like taking them through this whole ideation process from like the second they inquire to like their final edit. Like, you should talk about that because that's going to create a really clear picture for them of what it's like to work with you and really give a lot of trust and confidence to them because they know what they're getting into.
Yeah. And that sets you apart from everyone else who are either they don't do that or they're not sharing about it. So then,
Hmm.
they have five different websites pulled up and everyone's just kind of talking about the same thing, talking about their photos and
Hmm.
like you're going to feel so comfortable in front of my camera and all of that. And then they get to yours and it goes more in detail and they're just like, oh, I can actually picture myself working through with them. And this is, oh, they have a styling guide. Okay, this is great. Now I don't have to, like, I'm completely lost and just like on Pinterest pinning all of these different outfits
Hmm.
and now I have a styling guide if I go with this person. And yeah, it really does set you apart. uh, and like you did mention SEO earlier. Do you
Hmm.
have some tips on that? Because I know like keyword stuffing is out. We are not doing this. This
Yeah.
is not 2012. But like, what are some ways that you see that would be good for people, maybe to just like audit their website and see, do I have like these three things?
Yeah. Okay. Yes. I'll explain this and try not to get like too technical insider baseball terminology here
We
because I know
like
it's like
insider baseball. It's
okay.
cool.
Okay. Well, come along, nerds. um, I would say like, well, first, if I were working on your website, dear photographer who's listening, I would go look at who is currently ranking on Google for like, I don't know, wedding photographer in your area. And I'd be
Mhm.
like, maybe what if I could make my website like just 10% clearer, like 10% more compelling than one of these people. That seems doable, right? So that's like a pretty like good place to start there. Like maybe I can just make it a little better. Um but part of making it super clear there is having like, what you do and your location visible right away. So usually have that on, like we call it the hero image, like the first panel of your homepage there, have that on
Hmm.
there. Make sure it's labeled as your H1 so that Google can see, like, oh, wedding photographer in Boston. Got it. This is the most important thing. This is what the page is about. And we're going to throw that in with like the other pages that are competing for this keyword here. And also making sure that that your um, SEO title and meta description also have your, the kind of photographer you are and your location in there too, because all of that is telling Google what this page is about and where it belongs. So when you hit, like, let's call it those three places, like the title tag, the description, and the on page SEO of your homepage, that's usually a pretty good place to start there.
Yes. Yeah, I was looking up a photographer recently and just like Googling them, it came up with their photography name dash home, and that
Yeah.
was their title description for their homepage. And I was like, oh, they're missing out. Like you got to get like at least your location, like you were saying, of
Mm-hmm.
like that's going to help whenever people are searching for stuff. Especially like I know a lot of us we work out of the home.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have a studio for like Google Places to like have a physical location that people can be like, I want directions to all her photography.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but if you don't want your address listed on Google, like you're gonna have to have those keywords and like your location on your website so that people and Google knows where at all you're located.
Yeah, and what you mentioned of like changing that like from home to, wedding photographer in Boston, that takes 2 seconds. It's so
Oh yeah.
fast. And it's such a clear way to tell Google what's going on here and why they should care. So get on that, people. It's like free traffic if you can get your website ranking there.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. I love that. What are some other ways outside of like the like what we just talked about with SEO and with uh, like showing up as your brand and really having that experience that you're sharing? What are some other ways we can kind of set ourselves apart? Maybe have a better experience for people to get booked.
Yeah, well, I'd say like if you're first starting out and you're like, okay, I need to like make some updates to my website and I really want it to be heavy on the experience of my brand and stuff. I would start by looking at in like very casual, chill, just seeing what's out there, looking at the pages that are currently ranking and seeing like, are there any common themes or anything that like would make me like and my, genuine who I am as a photographer, service provider show up that would look really good compared to these other pages. Like if everyone is saying like timeless photography, maybe
Uh,
we're like, okay, what, like if people really want timeless, what's underneath that? Like what is, if that's like what's popping in my area, how can I describe this in a different way that kind of draws people in more, speaks more to my unique perspective on how I would go about creating like a timeless photography session for someone. And I think like doing that can kind of help you get past the buzzwords as well. I know there's probably a lot of like same but different with photographer websites,
yeah.
so being conscious of that, of like, I'm never going to shame someone for using buzzwords or using something that is used commonly or even using stuff that is generated from like ChatGPT or something. But if you can identify that and be like, okay, a lot of people are saying this, but what's my unique perspective on this, or how can I dig a little deeper into what it's like for them, um, that can help set you apart as well. Also, looking at your testimonials, like if a bunch of people are saying the same thing or they're like really feeling like there's just strong feelings of like, I don't know, confidence or something like that in your testimonials, you should call that out as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a really great idea to like actually read the testimonials that come in
Hmm.
more than just like that immediate time whenever you get that notification of like, hey, you have a new Google review and you're like, oh yay, cool, 5 stars,
Yeah.
yay, they had a good time. Awesome. And like that's it. But like going back and actually reading what was it that they said that they enjoyed? What set you apart? What qualified for those 5 stars?
Hmm.
I did something a couple years ago and probably should again since I've had new reviews, but I just copied all of them,
Hmm.
just copied all the text and dropped it into a word cloud generator,
Oh yeah. Okay.
and then it just like it takes all the words and then makes the ones that are used more frequently larger, and I was able to see like what exactly they were talking about, and a lot of it was the like feeling comfortable and that I made them feel like relaxed and at peace and all that.
Hmm.
So I was like, oh, I don't really talk about that too much on my website. I should talk about that more.
Yeah.
And now like I have, a few photographers on my team and other photographers that like second shoot with me every now and then. They're like, every time that I work with you, the couples are just so relaxed and chill, and like it's just like a house party. We're just like hanging out. And I was like, yeah, it's probably because I'm marketing to them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great point. Like people are already telling you what you're really good at. Just lean into that and highlight that more and you'll find more people who want exactly that.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I'm all for that. I think that that is a very underutilized area for us,
Mhm.
is like looking at those reviews and those testimonials and even like verbal testimonials. Like think about like what people say at the end of a photo shoot
Mhm.
or what they say whenever you deliver the photos,
Mhm.
and uh and then taking that, or even like people that either come back to you over and over again, just asking them like, "Hey, I know like y'all have been working with me for 5 years now.
Mm.
What what's bringing you back? Like I would love to know exactly why y'all keep coming back. It can't just be that I'm the only photographer in town that you know. Like
Mhm.
what are the things?"
Exactly. Yeah. Sometimes it is as simple as just asking them.
Yeah.
Mhm. Mm.
Okay, so if we've like once we've attracted people, like there's like the whole attract more
Mhm.
clients, but then in order to get like the most booked out, be the booked out photographer in your area, you also need to like book them.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
Do you have any tips or anything on like once you're getting more eyes on your thing on your website, on your social media, all of that, like how can we transition from their potential client into their booked client?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to answer this assuming that you have a good client process and are super charismatic once you get on calls with people and all of that is locked
Yes,
down.
that is baseline. We all need to be doing
For
that.
sure. For sure. But I think like one thing that can kind of relieve the pressure of like, oh my gosh, I need to get people to hire me from, my social media, from my website and stuff, is realizing that you're literally just trying to make them do one tiny thing, and that is fill out your inquiry form. Like that's it.
Mhm.
I mean, that's a big step because hopefully we are attracting people that are, serious and ready to go and
Yeah.
like are very qualified and such. But to like take some of the pressure off, like that's the entire job of your website, is to just get people to inquire. And there are some ways that we can help them along that client journey that like sound simple, but it's all the tiny little things that add up that make someone feel confident enough to inquire with you. So like one thing that's coming to mind for me is making it super simple and clear what services you offer and how they work. So have you heard that saying that like restaurants with shorter menus make more sales?
Yes. Like the what is it, that Cheesecake Factory of just
Right, exactly.
like the Bible of
Don't be
it's just
Cheesecake Factory is
don't be
what I'm
Cheesecake
saying.
Factory. I
Yeah.
actually went there recently and I was reminded of that because I was staring at the menu for a full 15 minutes. And then
Yeah.
the waiter was coming around being like, "Is everyone ready to order?" I was like, "I don't know.
No, I need to
I've
read
just
this novel.
yeah, this one looks good and this one looks good and I don't know
Yeah.
what I want now because I had something in mind, but now it's just too many options."
Yeah, so kind of that same principle on your website, making sure your services and what your actual menu is super clear, and you're listing out exactly what they're getting, what the process is, including like pricing. At least starting pricing is always strongly recommended, and I
Mhm.
know that is kind of like a back and forth thing. I'm fourth that like
Yes, we are
you
for
yes,
it.
yeah, like you will get more qualified people inquiring if you have at least like starting pricing for each of your services on your website. So
Yeah.
again, it sounds simple. It sounds like we're just going to button up these packages, make sure it's super clear on what they are, but it really does make a big difference if you give them like, three different services that are super easy to choose from, like picking something off of a menu that only has three items. That's a really easy choice. So something like that comes to mind. And then I would say, like, if you are someone who is like, I actually do a lot of other things too, and I have this other kind of thing here, make a secret menu. If they really like you, they'll inquire about your secret menu, or they'll slide in their DMs and be like, do you do this kind of service as well? If they like
Mhm.
you and you have a really strong experience, they might ask about it as well. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing for the photographers who do like wedding photography and family and newborn maternity.
Mm-hmm.
Like they don't really I mean they kind of mesh because like they all go together their life life experiences,
Mm-hmm.
but like yeah, having even like I always recommend like a plus page on your website
Yeah.
of just like this is the same layout and everything, but now it is about family photography
Mm-hmm.
or lifestyle or whatever your other thing is, branding photography. That way you're attracting the people that are there for that to that page
Mm-hmm.
and not to your wedding page because and you're not like intermingling them where your homepage is just like wedding photos and then photos of food at a restaurant and then here's a baby and people go into your website are just like I don't know I
I
don't
know. Yeah.
yeah
Yeah.
again too many things on the menu they don't know what you specialize in
Mm-hmm.
and odds are if you have 17 different things that you're doing you're probably not amazing at one of them.
Exactly. And that is what they are going to think if you have too many items on your menu for them to choose from.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to like a barbecue restaurant, you know they're going to have amazing barbecue.
Exactly.
Like you're not
Yeah.
going there thinking, well, I don't know. How's
Mm-hmm.
their pizza?
Right.
That's it's probably good, right?
Right. Yeah. They might have something gluten free on the menu, but that is not what they are known for.
No, no, no.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
I literally last week I literally did slide in a photographer's DMs who does wedding photography, but I just like their style, and I was like, "Do you do branding as well? Cuz I really love to work with you." And they're like, "Yeah, we open them up in the fall and the summer." Of course. So,
Yeah.
yeah, people do ask if you are like if you're the person they want to work with, why
Yeah.
not?
Yeah. If they resonate with you, they're
Mhm.
like, "Well, I'm gonna ask."
Yeah.
And no, I think that's so good. I love the secret menu
Mhm.
thing too of just like even having that little extra pricing sheet or like on my contact page I have like it is made for couples and I'm
Mhm.
like if you're here for like family or branding photography click this button and then it's a
Yeah.
different contact form that generates
Mhm.
that way they're not going through answering questions about what day is your wedding and that kind of
Mhm.
stuff.
Yeah, FAQs, that's a great place to put. Like if you have other services that you offer or would offer if the right person came along, that's a great place to
Mm,
put it. And so they can have that available to them there without taking up more space on the page and overwhelming them with information.
Yes, yes. I love a good FAQ page.
Same.
I'm always I am that person that's reading reviews and I'm the person that's going to someone's FAQs to just be like, okay, what do I need to know?
Yep.
And I do see a lot of times that people will put on not really frequently asked questions of just like, how do you travel with your gear? And I'm like, but are people ask like, are you a destination photographer or are you
Yeah.
just aspiring to be one? Like we, it's really good to put actual frequently asked questions on there.
Yeah, and that can be good for SEO too. Like if you look
Hmm.
at the like suggested searches on Google for your like services
Yep.
query or whatever you're trying to target for that page, add those other suggested searches as FAQs if they make sense, obviously.
Hmm.
And that can help your SEO for your site as well.
Ooh, yeah. I just had
Mhm.
that just gave me an idea for a blog post of like
Yes.
frequently asked questions for wedding photographers.
Yeah.
And then whenever people are Googling, what should I ask my wedding photographer? Like, that's a great title for the blog. I'm just like telling Future John this as he's
Right.
editing this later.
Yeah.
Put this blog together.
I know.
Uh,
Listen, blogging could be a whole other podcast episode too, because
it
as a
seriously can.
yeah,
Yeah.
pro blogging, love it.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Okay. I love this. What are some things that people can do if they're just like, okay, Delaney, this sounds great. I love all of this. What's like my next step? What should I do if I'm doing zero of these?
Hmm.
What should I do next?
Okay. Well, I am a website person, so I'm gonna like let's just focus on your website here.
Yeah.
I
And
would
that's like
say,
your owned space on the internet too.
yeah.
So it's like, this is your home.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and updating your Instagram to have your location will take 2 seconds, so you can do that. But
Yeah.
I'd say on your website, first of all, don't overwhelm yourself. Like websites are a whole thing. There are like people like me who like that's my entire job is website. So like don't overwhelm yourself. I would say like first start looking at what would it take for me to be the number one ranked um, website for this service in this area. Like, let's just see what's out there. And then from there, you can think of like just start with a couple things that you can improve. You're like, maybe I can like go deeper in on these buzzwords, or maybe I can update that SEO meta description here. Maybe I can add my location, or maybe I can change all the alt text on my homepage images to have my target keywords as well. So don't overwhelm yourself because I know like once you get in there on like Squarespace or Show It or whatever, you're like,
Yeah.
there's so many things to do. Just pick like two or three things that you can do every week to uh, give your site a little SEO love. Maybe that's updating your like bio section. Maybe that's writing a blog post. Maybe that's optimizing your images a little better. Don't overwhelm yourself is like the bottom line of all of this.
Yes. Yeah. And I love that like little bits, like 5, 15 minutes
Hmm.
of what's one or two things that I can do. Not
Hmm.
I need to revamp my entire website and then 17 hours later you're crawling out of a cave. And yeah, it's like having those little baby steps of like it also gives you that momentum of okay, things are changing
Hmm.
and I'm going to come back next week and I'm going to do this thing. And
Yeah.
then like you can like have this list of things that you're going to work on. And I would imagine that's also good for Google
Hmm.
because it's showing that your website is alive and changing and that you're making changes to it
Hmm.
instead of a website that you put together or had someone put together for you and it has just been sitting there with the same copy with the same photos for the last 3 years and nothing is changing at all. Google's like, okay, this is
Hmm.
not as lively, so we're not gonna like rank up as much.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why blogging is so great because that's
Yeah.
a way to show Google that this site is being updated and is still relevant too. So like updating some blog posts, even if you don't write a
Hmm.
new one, you could go update an old one with more keywords or add more context in
Yep.
there. That counts.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a couple that are like they're my biggest traffic bringer inners. I don't know what I'm trying to say.
For
They
sure.
they
Yeah.
bring in the
Yeah.
most eyes
Yeah.
to those like two or three blogs, and I will go in every 6 months or so and just like change out some photos.
Mhm.
Like one of them is like local photo shoot areas for engagements. And I will just go in and update and be like, okay, I have some better photos that I can put here to
Mhm.
like impress people that they want to like, oh, I like this photo. Let me hire him now.
Yeah.
But yeah, like doing that kind of updating those blogs in the same way that like you were saying with your website of I'm going to do this little thing here, I'm going to change this little thing today, and then that's it. That's a really great way of starting to do a little bit of blogging is updating some stuff.
Mhm.
And also like I know that you're supposed to do like 3 to 800 words or something in a blog post. Like that is
Mhm.
optimal. But even starting with blog posts of just like 100 words
Yeah.
or whatever you can put in there, just post it, and like it will start giving you that momentum to start doing more and more, and then it'll come a lot easier as you're kind of working that blogging muscle.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And with like blogging and SEO, for me being like kind of nerdy, this is like fun for me. I know for some people they're like, this
Hmm.
does not sound fun. But I feel like if you can like again, break it down, make it fun, like kind of gamify it as well. Like listen, me watching my Google search console like rank my pages and those views go up, even if it does take 6 months, like that long term validation, I love that. So
Yep.
if that's fun for you, like it is for me, you can kind of gamify it a little and be like, oh, I can make a better blog post than this person's post here. Like, it's not that hard.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I'm all about gamifying life.
Mm-hmm.
Like any little thing, I am constantly just like throwing trash into trash cans,
Yes.
just, fadeaway jumpers from the corner of the living room,
Yep.
just
Yep.
all the things. It's always some sort of game. Like we do that with our kids too to help them
Yeah.
because they don't want to pick up anything, which I totally get. I also don't. I
Right.
also don't
Yeah.
want to pick up these things.
Yeah.
But like, we'll put on a timer, or like we'll do like a song and like have Alexa play one
Yeah.
song. It's like, okay, we have 2.5 minutes
Yeah.
to clean up your entire room, and it's gamify. You
I know.
gamify
I bet you can't do
everything.
this in 2 minutes.
Hmm. I
Oh,
bet. I
watch
bet I
me.
can't beat you to the bathroom to go brush your teeth, and then yeah,
Exactly. Yeah,
and then they
just
do.
yeah, so treat yourself like a child.
Treat yourself like
Work
a
smart.
child.
Gamify everything.
If you take anything from this episode, treat yourself like a child.
Write
I
it
love it.
down. Writing it down.
Yes. Okay.
Uh,
Well, Delaney, this has been so great. I love this. Before we like wrap up, where people can find you online and all that, there's
mhm.
part of the show that I like to do where we talk about what we're loving this week, and it can be literally anything: book, TV show, movie, whatever. What are you loving this week?
Okay, okay. I've thought about this a little bit since you mentioned it to me. So I watched the TV show Adolescence over the weekend. Have you seen this?
I saw like the behind the scenes of them shooting because like each episode is like
Yeah.
one constant take, right?
So I need to see the behind the scenes now because okay,
Okay.
well, I don't want to bring the mood down by talking about the subject matter because it's so heavy and like
Yeah.
very important conversations coming out of this for sure.
Yes. Oh,
But
for sure.
the way it's shot is like awe-inspiring because like if you haven't seen it, they're hour-long episodes and each one is done in one take. So the whole thing, there's no like they must have saved so much on their editing budget because there is no editing. It's just
Yeah.
all one shot and it's really really like astonishing. So
Yeah.
that's I've been
It's
thinking about that for, like, days since I watched
yeah.
that.
I have not watched it. What streamer is that on?
Netflix.
Netflix? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. That's one we got rid of Netflix a while back, and then we have it again now, but I never
Yeah.
think to open it because it's been like a year and a half.
Yeah, you cycle through them.
Mhm,
Mhm.
mhm. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm sure there's, like, so many things that I need to watch now.
Yeah.
But yeah, part of the behind the scenes was, like, there's, like, one shot where they, like, take the camera and then pass it through a window, and then
Mm.
someone's hooking up a cable to a drone that's flying out there, and then the drone lifts off
Yeah.
and takes the camera to another location. I'm like, this is wild. Is
Yeah.
just like so much thought going into how it's going to go. Um, and like
Yeah.
there have been a couple times that the actors have also said the wrong lines. And I don't know, there's like one scene, I think it was like the therapist was supposed to say something and then she accidentally said another word, and then
Mm.
the kid was just like, don't you mean this? And like they just left it in there, and then it also like kind of played into the characters too. And yeah, I'm very interested in it, just
Mhm.
like not even the plot and like what it's about, which I'm also interested in that,
Mhm.
but like just the cinematography and just like seeing how they put this all together.
Yeah, it's fascinating and like anxiety inducing. Like I can't imagine being an actor and you like flub a line. You're like, oh
Yeah.
no, guys,
You're
I
like at
ruined
minute
the
48.
yeah,
It's
you
like,
ruined the
oh,
entire day. And
okay, we got to reset
I
from the
know.
top.
So that is anxiety inducing, I think, but it's
Yeah.
also fascinating. And I also think they want you to feel like some anxiety too. So they like want you to feel kind of anxious throughout the whole thing. So
Yeah.
yeah, super
Yeah.
fascinating.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
love that it's something different. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's not the same kind of show that we're used to. It's not the same filming techniques. Like
Yeah.
this is different, and I don't know if like we would be talking about it as much if they hadn't like set it apart to be
Mm-hmm.
something different.
Yeah.
Going back to what we were talking about with like
Yeah.
your website and how like people aren't going to be talking about you if you look like everyone else and you're just the same old sitcom.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I
Yeah.
mean I was looking at like the budget stuff of like there are other things coming out that are huge budgets. And this one by
Yeah.
comparison, not that much. And they still made something really incredible that everyone is talking about. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's great.
Okay. Awesome. I need to actually open up Netflix, add that to my queue, get going on Adolescence because that sounds really cool. I've heard some really great things about it.
Yes, it is. It's really good. Very depressing though, so
Yeah. Yeah. So
yeah. Yeah.
so be warned.
Yes. Yeah. Have your candy ready or something that will make you happy. Your dark
Hmm.
roast.
Yeah, your dark
Yeah.
roast, your pint of Ben and Jerry's.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I am loving a movie that I recently saw. I think it's on Prime Video, or maybe Hulu. I don't know. One of those two. Um, and it's the third of a series of Quiet Place. So there was like
Oh,
Quiet Place and Quiet Place Two with like Emily Blunt and John Krasinski.
okay.
Uh, those were really good. This one is Quiet Place Day One.
Okay.
So this is like the beginning of when all of that happened. And I love the first two Quiet Place movies, just how different it was and like how quiet everything is. Like a
Mm.
lot, there's not a lot of scoring, there's not a lot of music, and it's just like you feel that anxiety and like the tenseness of how quiet everything is, and you can like hear the leaves crush under their
Mhm.
feet as they're walking, and just like you're ready for something to happen. um,
Wow. Okay.
but day one is very interesting. Lupita Nyong'o is the main character, and then oh, what is his name?
Joseph Quinn
Joseph Quinn.
from Stranger
Yes,
Things. Yeah.
yeah. Uh,
Yeah.
it took me a minute to recognize him. I was like, I know this guy's face. I've seen his
Mhm.
face before, but I'm used to the long hair and
Right. Yeah.
guitar and everything. But yeah, it was very good.
Yeah.
I really liked it. It is definitely suspenseful thriller horror genre. So if that's not your thing, you're probably not gonna like it, but I liked the again with like the just the silence,
Mhm.
and it just like kind of makes your heart race as you're watching it.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of the Quiet Place movies, although I am into like thriller and horror. I just remember seeing a lot of stuff on like the cat actors when it came out last year. They're talking about the cats.
There is a cat actor
Yeah,
in this one, and so good.
yeah.
Like where it's just like turn and like ran this way and then like turn back to like tell them like it's okay to walk this way or something. It was just
Wow.
like this is a really good cat actor.
Wow. My cats
And
would never.
yeah,
Like we
it's
do
like
what
I
we want.
am just gonna lay here.
Yeah, you work for us. Come on.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
that's really cool.
yeah,
Yeah,
I recommend
I'll
checking
check it
out
out.
those. They're good.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, cool. Well, Delaney, where can people find you? Where can they follow along and check out your work?
Yeah, so I am darkroastcopy.co on Instagram threads, and that's my URL. So if you are super overwhelmed and you need some help with the words and the SEO and stuff, that is my full-time gig. So I can help you out there. Otherwise, just come over and hang out in the coffee shop. It's good vibes over there.
It is good vibes.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, cool. Well, I'll have links for all that in the show notes. And yeah, thank you so much for being on the show.
Yeah, thank you, John. It's a great combo.
Yay. Awesome. Well, thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see you for the next podcast episode. Bye, y'all.